All right, welcome to the Explainer. So, what if I told you the most important skill in crypto isn't about picking winners? It's actually about avoiding the losers. Seriously. Today, we're not going to be chasing those crazy moonshots. Instead, we're going to build a shield. We're going to break down a simple framework that'll help you dodge that, 90% of projects that are basically destined to fail, and protect your hard-earned cash in the process.
So let me tell you a quick story. Let's go back to the crazy crypto run of 2021. You've got investor A, right? They're totally caught up in the hype, scrolling through TikTok, sees a bunch of influencers talking about a project called SafeMoon, and they throw 50 grand into it. Poof, it's all gone. Now, on the other hand, you have investor B. They spent maybe 10 hours, like a weekend binge watching a new show, actually researching a project called Solana. That 10 hours, it turned into a $100,000 gain. See the difference there? It wasn't luck. It was all about having a process.
And here's exactly why that process is so important. There are over 20,000 cryptocurrencies out there. Just let that sink in for a second. And the hard truth, the really sobering reality, probably 90% of them, 90, are either outright scams, totally flawed ideas, or they're just going to fade away to nothing. So your number one job before you even think about profits is just to not get wrecked by that 90%.
Think about it. We research everything these days, right? You wouldn't buy a new phone without watching like a dozen YouTube reviews. You'll spend an hour on Yelps trying to find the perfect taco spot. We plan vacations like we're planning a military operation. So why on earth would we throw our money, our actual hard-earned money, at an investment with less research than we put into picking out dinner?
Okay, so how do we do that without getting totally overwhelmed? Simple. We use a framework. You can think of it as your 5-minute sanity check, a BS detector, really. It's just a quick filter to help you immediately screen out the obvious garbage and save you a ton of wasted time.
And here it is, the 5-layer framework. First up, we've got the smell test. This is for spotting quick red flags. Then, problem and solution, like, does this thing even need to exist? Third, team and development. Who are the people behind it, and are they actually, building anything? Fourth is the big one, tokenomics, the money math. And last, we check out the community and ecosystem. The key here is that each layer is like a gate. If a project fails at any one of these, you just stop. You save your time and you move on.
All right, so layer 1. This is your first impression, the smell test. Seriously, before you even think about reading a white paper or looking at a price chart, you're going to spend just 5 minutes on this. It's kind of like a first date, right? Are there any huge, obvious red flags that just make you want to get the check and get out of there?
And these are the absolute deal breakers. Is the team totally anonymous? Look, unless you're Satoshi Nakamoto, that's a massive red flag. No accountability. Are they promising guaranteed returns? That's not just a red flag, that's literally the definition of a scam, period. What about some random celebrity suddenly tweeting about it? Yeah, that's a paid ad, not a real endorsement. You see any of this stuff? Just walk away. Don't even think twice.
Okay, so let's say a project actually passes that first smell test. Now we get to what is probably the most critical layer of all. This is where most people either make a great investment or a really bad one. We're talking about decoding the tokenomics. This is the math behind the money, and ignoring it, well, it's like buying a house without even asking what the price is. I know tokenomics sounds like a super complicated word, but it's really not. It's just the economics of a token. It's what answers the really important questions, the ones that decide if you're going to make money or just get dumped on. Questions like, how many of these tokens will ever be made? Who's holding them right now? And maybe most importantly, does this token actually do anything? Like, does it have a real purpose, or is it just for gambling?
Now, have a look at this chart. This is a perfect example of what you do not want to see. This is just a terrible token distribution. When you see that the team and a few insiders own a whopping 50% of all the tokens, that is a gigantic warning sign. It means a tiny group of people could decide to sell at any moment and completely crash the price, leaving everyone else, leaving you holding the bag.
So here are some actual numbers to keep in your head. If the founders are holding anything over, say, 30% of the supply, you should be super careful. You also have to figure out when the early investors, the VCs, are allowed to sell their tokens. They're called unlock events, and they can create massive waves of selling. But the cool thing about crypto is that this isn't some secret. It's all public. You can go look it up on the blockchain and verify it for yourself.
And this right here, this is the ultimate gut check for a token's utility. Just ask yourself this one simple question. If the price of this token goes up 10 times, does that actually help the project itself succeed? Think about a project like Chainlink, a higher token price actually makes their network more secure. But for a lot of meme coins, the price has absolutely zero connection to how the project works. If the token is just there to be traded, you're not investing, you're just gambling.
And you know what? This is the most empowering part of all of this. In the old world of finance, so much of this data is just hidden away. But in crypto, you don't have to just trust what a team says on their website. You can actually verify it for yourself. Every single transaction, every user, every dollar, it's all public. You just have to learn how to read the story that the blockchain is telling you.
And these are the tools you can use to read that story. And guess what? Most of them are free. You can use something like Etherscan to be a detective and see where the money is actually flowing. You can use a site called DeFi Llama to see how much money is actually being used inside a project's ecosystem. They call it total value locked. It's a huge indicator of real use. These are the tools that let you slice right through all the marketing hype and see what's really going on.
Okay, so that's the framework. I know it can sound like a lot, right? But how do you actually do all this without it turning into a full-time job? Well, let's break it down into a super practical 3-week plan that'll take you all the way from finding a new project to making a final decision.
So, week 1, you're just a sponge. You're in discovery mode. You're focusing on the basic idea, the team. You're reading their official documents, watching interviews with the founders, and here's a big one. Just go lurk in their Discord or Telegram channels to get a feel for the community. Then, week 2, you put on your analyst hat. This is the deep dive into the tokenomics and the community. You're also actively looking for the bear case. What are all the reasons you shouldn't invest? By week 3, you've got a much more balanced picture, and you're ready to make a smart, calm decision.
And listen, before you ever click that buy button, please do this one last thing. It's so important. Force yourself to argue against your own idea. Seriously, write down 5 solid reasons not to invest in this project. This is how you fight against our own brains, which naturally just want to find information that confirms what we already want to believe. And hey, if you can't come up with 5 good reasons against it, it probably means you just haven't researched it enough. And finally, you have to be super intentional about where you get your info. So tier 1, that's the absolute truth. We're talking the actual code on GitHub, the raw data from the blockchain itself. Tier 2 is useful analysis from good sources, but you still need to double check what they're saying. And then there's tier 3, crypto Twitter, YouTube, Reddit. Look, treat that stuff as entertainment, okay? It's a great place to get ideas, but it is not where you go to make financial decisions. That, my friends, is how you get wrecked.
So, let's wrap this all up. The whole point of doing this work, it's not to guarantee that you find the next 100x coin. The real goal is to build a system that helps you avoid the 90% of projects that are just going to zero. That's it. Because if you make protecting your money your #1 goal, you make sure that you're still in the game with cash ready to go when those truly great opportunities show up. So, now you've got the framework. The only question is, are you ready to start?